That's amazing. You don't see that in the US, man. ...2016 GRMN86, 1 out of 100 made, only for the Japanese market, more than twice the price of the base 86. And thanks to the Fuji Speedway Hotel, I get to drive this car for the full afternoon, no charge. And that's not some special perk of mine. If you stay at the Fuji Speedway Hotel in either a suite or you book 90 minutes or more in their spa, you get access to this. You just have to reserve it in advance. And I am stoked. As you guys know, I used to own a 2013 Scion FRS. And we're gonna drive to Hakone Skyline and do a proper canyon review, or mountain review I should say, of this car. Very special car. Fuji Speedway Hotel, my new favorite hotel. And granted, I haven't stayed in many fancy hotels, but in the last, I'd say 2 years, I saw this guy, by the way, tracking his 458. That's amazing. You don't see that in the US, man. So this is my new favorite hotel, although in the last 2 years I have been staying at nicer hotels, like Park Hyatt Kyoto, Park Hyatt Tokyo are some of my favorites. I tend to do mostly Hyatts, have status there and such. And this is my new favorite. It is just so well done. It's owned by Toyota, the Toyota like residential group. It's like a subsidiary of Toyota. And the 7th and 8th floors, they actually have condos that you can buy for yourself. And Akio Toyota himself, of course, owns probably the nicest condo up there. But if you're a mere mortal like me, then you can just use it as a hotel, right? And it's just so well done, from the museum to the track experiences. If you want to do an actual open lap tracking session, you have to get a fiscal license, which is a process, and they only teach it in Japanese. So if you want to do it with an interpreter, you have to schedule that yourself. Something that I was planning on doing, but probably not going to have time for it this time, so we'll be doing it next time most likely, because I will absolutely be coming here again, no doubt. Dude, it feels great to be back in an 8.6. I owned an FRS for 9 years, and I can already tell you the front end here and the steering is just so much more direct and sharp. We haven't even started pushing it, but I can already tell this is going to drive very, very well. In my mind, this is the new must-do trip for car enthusiasts. And part of the reason that a lot of people have not been talking about this is simply because Fuji Speedway Hotel only opened like a year and a half ago from the time of this recording. So it's pretty new, and I guess that's probably the biggest reason. It's also not near Tokyo or Kyoto. It's not really near any of the major cities. So you have to drive out here in a car, because if you do public transit, it's like 10 hours. You have to take 2 trains and bus. I think actually it's like 10 to 11 hours minimum. So you don't want to spend the whole day doing that when you only have maybe a week or 2 in Japan in the first place. So you have to rent a car. And what I suggest, I've been to Japan now, this is my 3rd time, rented a few cars in my trips, and I actually recommend going to NRT Rent-A-Car. It's a smaller rental car company, not as well known as some of the bigger ones, but that's actually a good thing. So it's more white glove service. You text someone, or rather WhatsApp someone, so it's not email, and they speak perfect English, the guy that you're going to be talking to, Kyo. Smaller group, only a few guys in the group, but they're located right by NRT Airport. So they come pick you up, and you hop straight into your car, and you want to drive from Tokyo, or from rather Narita Airport, to Fuji Speedway Hotel, because again, public transit is going to take too long. And the drive, depending on when you leave, you know, with traffic and such, it's going to take you 2.5 to 3 hours. And it's mostly just highways. But then towards the end, it starts getting pretty good, twisty canyon roads and such. And the nice thing, if you go with NRT Rent-A-Car, is that they're way more lax and chill. They're not trying to nickel and dime you. So if you have any small scratches and things like that occur, they're not trying to argue with you and get little dollars for just regular wear and tear. And then, unlike any other company, if you actually go to Fuji Speedway and do the parade laps, so the fiscal license is for open tracking. That's a separate thing. But without the fiscal license, you can do these parade laps. You just pay like $50 and you get 10, 15 minutes on the track, follow the lead car. It's not going at high speed, of course, but NRT Rent-A-Car allows you to do that, whereas most other car companies will not. So you get the convenience of hopping off your plane, getting to the car, and driving straight here. I'm spending 4 nights, and there's a ton to do. I took my Brompton bicycle, and I rode around Lake Yamanaka. There's 5 lakes here. I just did one of the lakes. It was awesome. There's this whole Hakone Triangle that people recommend if you want to do the more regular touristy things, and even the roads connecting each of those 3 main spots in the Hakone Tourist Triangle are also excellent. Although we're going to Hakone Skyline, which is particularly good. It's actually where I filmed the S660 review last year. And there's generally less traffic. I'm liking these shorter gears on this GRMN86 and the Alcantara wheel. I love what Toyota's been doing recently. Leading into motorsports, Akio Toyoda is incredible. Love what he's doing, and you can criticize Toyota for various things and the collaboration with BMW on the Supra and with Subaru on the 86 BRZ, yada yada yada, which I get are valid critiques, but man, in modern day, if you're criticizing them on things like that, you gotta understand the bigger landscape of the automotive space, the automotive industry. By the way, if you do want to go with NRT Rent-A-Car, which is what I suggest, they are giving my viewers a 5% discount using code JABAL, and also linked down in the description. The main downside about coming to Fuji Speedway Hotel is that number one, you have to drive a car, which if you're a car enthusiast, if you're watching this channel, that's not really a downside. You want to drive a car, especially in these amazing mountain roads near Fuji Speedway and Hakone, rather than, you know, the city in Tokyo. It's cool, the highways. I know C1, people like to do these speed runs there, but you're not getting, if you enjoy driving, you're not gonna be able to push the car in the same way you can do on these mountain roads. And then the other downside is that near the hotel, there aren't many restaurants. So you will have to drive to go to your nearest restaurant. Although they do have 3 restaurants at the hotel, which is where I've been eating most of my meals recently. And I highly suggest you guys get a magnetic phone mount like what I have here. So I got this cigarette adapter and a USB-C cable, plugs into this, right? And then that mounts to any vent, and with MagSafe, it just latches on and charges wirelessly. And this has been so clutch. Most modern cars, you don't really need that because most modern cars have CarPlay, but obviously if you're coming to Japan and renting an Enthusiast vehicle, it's probably not a very recent vehicle, it's probably a decade plus old, and therefore having this is going to be helpful. And when I was driving the S660, I had to use my girlfriend as the phone mount, just like holding it at the confusing parts of the highway, just so I could see. But this is obviously a much more sustainable and streamlined solution than that. Now there are other car enthusiast centric kind of trips and excursions that are recommended widely. So one is that you get to Hakone and you do the fun to drive. It's like a guided tour, but you're obviously not going to be able to drive that fast because lowest common denominator, you have to drive at the pace of the other people in the group, and they want to keep people safe. They don't know everyone's experience level. But you have to start in Hakone, of course, and that is going to be a trek from Tokyo. You don't actually pick up the car in Tokyo. And then there are some other agencies that you can pick up closer to Tokyo, but they're also not next to the airport. So a bit of a trek, and also frequently not near a you know, where most of you are going to be staying in hotels. I find that, based on my limited experience, it's only my third time out here in Japan, I find that driving your own car, your own routes, and you have certain destinations is more enjoyable. You can go at your pace, whether that's faster or slower. You can stop by Daikoku when you want. Sunday mornings are mostly supercars. If you want the JDM stuff, that's going to be Friday and Saturday night. Even Thursday night's actually really good. I'm still blown away that they're letting me use this car for free. Like, they gave me a full tank of gas. They said, don't worry about gas. The only thing I have to pay for are the tolls on the road. I return it with no gas filled. I'm not paying anything to rent the car. It's just included in my stay. And it's clearly like Toyota is doing all these things to share the love, share the passion of cars, of motorsport. And having this hotel right on Fuji Speedway, having these driving experiences, the car switches out. So this car, I think, is available for about 3 months. Previously, they had the LBX Morizo RR, which I was looking forward to driving, and then when they switched it, I got even more excited that this, you know, this car is obviously a little bit more aligned with my interests than the LBX, although the LBX Morizo, I'm sure, is a very cool car. They have a few more coming out later this year. I think the IQ Morizo as well, and then the one after that, I'm not sure. But it's going to constantly be rotated. You can find out the current vehicle on their website. And if you feel intimidated by the idea of driving in a country like Japan where you don't read the signs and you're driving on the opposite side, it's not that bad. There is a bit of a learning curve. Now, the way that I have reduced that learning curve, it's actually been pretty easy for me. First of all, I've driven in other countries like this where you're driving on the opposite side of the road and on the car. Like, actually, I started in India when I was younger. And that was funny. The signs, they have English there because of the British influence. And then I also had a family member with me to help like navigate the craziness of India. Although I was not driving in Delhi, that's not recommended. And then I drove in Cape Town, South Africa, and also the UK, because I went to go see the British Grand Prix. And getting a rental car to drive up there was the easiest. And unlike America, they actually have manual rental cars there. So after driving on the opposite side in a few countries, coming to Japan, even though I don't read the signs, not that big of a deal. Just make sure that you have navigation like this. The exact phone mount that I use is linked below. Highly recommend that. And other than that, you just kind of take it slow. Navigation is going to tell you where you need to turn. If you're unsure about something, it's largely the same as in the US or most other countries in terms of driving rules and yielding and things like that. You're just not necessarily going to recognize all the signs. So it's helpful to, you know, watch a quick YouTube video on what those various signs are. But this, I think, is going to become the new de facto recommended experience for car enthusiasts. You fly into NRT Narita. That's the one that is further from Tokyo, but it's very close to NRT Rent-A-Car. Haneda is the one that is closer to the city center. You take your rental car, you drive same day all the way to Fuji Speedway Hotel, spend a few nights here. There's a ton to do, from the car museum. I mean, I spent like more than an hour just there alone. Could have spent even more time. And then you're gonna have your car in this area where they have incredible mountain roads. Hakone Skyline being where we drove the S660 in the past. I'm gonna review this here as well. Dedicated GRMN86 mountain review, which you can find linked below. And there are plenty of other things to do at the hotel as well. They have go-karts, they have the various track experiences. You can do the parade lap without having to do any fiscal licensing. But again, you're driving slower there. Or you can do fiscal license and then do open track days. You got the Hakone Triangle. But again, like, the main thing is just these amazing mountain roads. This one doesn't have distinct lanes, so we're gonna go a little bit easier here, but when we get up to Hakone Skyline proper, we'll be able to push it a bit more. And there's a ton of great roads, even connecting the touristy things. Like, I drove from the hotel to Lake Yamanaka yesterday to ride my Brompton around the lake, and on the way there it was completely empty, did not get stuck behind any cars on the road, and it was windy, and Mount Fuji was like right there in front of me on the way to Lake Yamanaka. It was just so picturesque. One of those pinch me up dreaming moments. If you're a driving enthusiast and a JDM enthusiast, I think you would love this recommended trip itinerary. And if you have any other suggestions, leave them down for both me and for the other viewers with a comment down below. Links to NRT Rent-A-Car with a 5% discount, as well as my magnetic phone mount, are down in the description. Much love, my friends. I'll see you all in the next one.